Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Business Incorporated coming to you live from Lagos. I'm Chimize Obi-Iwago. On the program today, Mozambique set to default on another Eurobond repayment due this week owing to economic and fiscal problems. South Africa's Anglo-American Platinum expects half-year profits to fall by as much as 67%. Plus, Congo's central bank announces stiff new financial penalties for companies that fail to repatriate at least 40% of their revenues from mineral exports. Let's get started now. We're starting off with the markets. Mixed trading as seen in markets in Africa at intraday. For here in Nigeria, the Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index, though, was looking up, though sluggish, 0.08%. Market in South Africa was down 0.42% as intraday trading, and Egyptian market was down 0.82%. In Kenya, the Nairobi Stock Exchange traded up 0.33% on Monday. And in the Middle East, stock markets were mixed in narrow ranges at intraday, though petrochemical maker Saudi Kayan rose in response to better than expected second quarter earnings. The Saudi index edged down 0.30% as Saudi Kayan, the most heavily traded stock, rose 2.2%. Its second quarter net profit climbed to 242 million reals from 97.3 million reals a year ago. In Dubai, the index edged down 0.68% after rising for 7 straight sessions through Monday. Property firm Damac, one of the stocks which led the rally, fell back 4.3%. Qatar's index slipped 0.45% as Masraf Al Rayan, the second largest bank by market value, dropped to 1.1%. And it reported a flat quarterly net profit in line with analyst forecasts, suggesting the impact of Qatar's diplomatic crisis has so far been minor. And Abu Dhabi also came down 0.08%. And in Europe, bourses there were lower in early trade, with global sentiment dampened by a gridlock in U.S. politics over health care reform, as well as other news out of Europe. For more, let's talk to Daniel Koop, my colleague in Frankfurt. Hello, Daniel. Good afternoon. Thank you again for joining us.
Hello, Jimmy. Greetings, even though you cannot see it right now, from sunny Frankfurt.
Right, I get that greeting, Daniel. Well, after the Diselgate scandal, data shows diesel car sales are dropping in the EU zone. Fill us in on this.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story, actually, because when the Diselgate scandal started in 2015, sales of diesel cars basically dropped dramatically, and we just got new numbers actually in today. Just in June 2017, this trend really continues. When you look here in Europe to Germany, to Spain, to the United Kingdom, in all those countries, car sales of diesel have dropped massively. Total sales were actually down here in Europe by 8%, and the clear winners at this time are hybrid cars and also the good old petrol cars, which is very surprising. They actually were able to sell in the European Union during the last month about 1.5 million of those cars. Just the last time in 2007 they were able to sell that many cars. In total, I can tell you, many of the people here who are driving a diesel car, I am actually driving a diesel car myself, everybody doesn't really have an idea, how everything is going to continue, because there's also this discussion right now here in Germany of many cities actually banning diesel cars completely. I'm actually going tomorrow to the city of Stuttgart. There is going to be a big court case, and the city and the court will decide if diesel cars in the future will be banned from the street. So in total, companies are saying, of course, diesel is clean. Nobody believes that, and huge uncertainty also going on in which city here in the future you can even drive your diesel car.
Well, for you, Daniel, maybe you might just have to start rethinking getting to buy a petrol car. But then looking behind you there, Daniel, I can see that the DAX is actually tilting downwards sharply there. Just wondering what's driving that index at this time. But let's look at some of the earnings coming in. German airline Lufthansa comes out with strong numbers. Also, their African business is very profitable. What is the story behind these numbers?
Well, you just mentioned the blue chip index. Let me just tell you very briefly before I come to your question. The blue chip index actually is affected today also because of the news that U.S. President Donald Trump most likely is not going to get his health care bill, as he wants, as now, again, 2 other Republican candidates basically said that they are not in support of that. So that's the story of the blue chip index DAX today. And also very interesting, even though Lufthansa came out with those very strong numbers this year, they were even, I guess they couldn't wait to get these numbers out to investors. Just yesterday at night, they sent an ad hoc message to traders here in Germany, informing basically that their total volume of sales is now at 17 billion, and that's actually 2 billion higher compared to last year. Very strong. You mentioned on the one hand passenger sales, more passengers want to fly with Lufthansa Group, and also the routes to Africa, such as to Lagos, where you are, to Abuja, Port Harcourt, or other African cities are very strong in creating a big profit for the company. Also very strong is their low-cost carrier division, Eurowings, and also their business with cargo. So this is what's making the company gaining that much profit right now in the first half of the year. But actually interesting, the shares actually of Lufthansa were dropping today. Normally you would expect with such good news that the share price would go up. It's actually not the case. It was down with more than 2%. Actually, the reason behind this is actually that many people now use the opportunity to sell their Lufthansa shares. Lufthansa shares in this year gained more than 70% here at the blue chip index, that being one of the strongest performers this year here at the stock market.
Well, that's called profit